They say what you see is what you get. And yet, we each see things so differently. Perhaps we only see what we're looking for. If so, let's find more. That's our topic on this episode of the Educators Among Us podcast.
Welcome to the Educators Among Us podcast, where we share motivational messages and inspiring stories for and about educators. Your host, Scott Barron, is author of the critically acclaimed book, Love 'Em and Lead 'Em, and provides powerful insights and wisdom for those who heed the call to teach, coach, lead, and serve at all levels of education.
This is Scott Barron, and I am so honored to be your host for the Educators Among Us podcast. We get to take a moment and just provide some perspective, to think through things, to reflect on the enormous work that educators do. You change lives, and it doesn't matter what your role is in a school, in a learning organization. You actually literally change lives because you invest in people and you provide an opportunity for them to learn and to grow, providing a safe environment, providing an inspiring environment, providing a pathway to really gain new skills and especially wisdom, right? That's a very important part of what we do. And, schools are going through a lot of changes now, and a lot of schools are beginning to kind of regroup and think about how do we sometimes even think about reinventing ourselves as we try to create a path forward. That we've been successful, but we know that going into this emerging era of education, things are going to be different. And so we want to be different. We can't just assume that we're going to do things the same old way and get the same results. We have to be able to adapt and to learn and to be better, to be on that journey to excellence. Was working with a school here recently. We were in South Georgia, down near Savannah, and it was a board retreat. The board was working on some strategic planning and trying to figure out maybe some new opportunities to grow, and so we were staying at this lodge. Actually, it was just me staying there. We were convening there, but this was a beautiful lodge out in the middle of a pecan tree grove, and just a beautiful setting. And as we were there for the first day, the person who had dropped me off, he said, "Hey, at sunrise over that pond out there, there's a really pretty scenery, and so you may want to catch the sunrise." And I'm like, "Well, okay." I mean, I'm more about sunsets because it's not as early getting up, but sunrises are good too. And so I got in the shower that morning and was getting ready for the day, and I thought, I'll look out the window, just see what the sunrise is going to be. And as I looked out and I saw what was there, it was when we had gotten there the evening before, you couldn't really see. It was quite dark, and then seeing what was coming up over the trees, and there was a pond, and the lighting and the way that the water was reflecting was like, oh, that's going to be a really, really pretty picture. If you can get in the right position and you can make the shot, that could be really, really nice. And so I quickly get dressed and it's freezing outside. I mean, it's well below freezing temperatures, and my hair's still damp, and I'm got my boots on, and I'm traipsing across the dew covered grass as I'm making my way over down to the pond. It's about probably 150 yards down the hill, and I was looking for the shot. And what's interesting about that is if you know. There's just a short period of time. I mean, it was a couple of minutes that the right shot was going to be available. And so I found the right position after kind of taking a couple of samples, and then I was like, okay, got it. And I got the shot, and I actually, if you want to see it, I posted it on LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn profile, as well as, I will share it on the video for this podcast if you want to check that out over on YouTube. But anyway, it was a really kind of a great turnout for a picture that you had to be there, but you had to find it. You had to seek it out. And that's the interesting thing is, a lot of people have cameras. Everybody has a camera to take a picture, but not everybody can make a picture. And that's the interesting thing about developing that eye to see what's possible. It's like the Brooks and Dunn song, Believe, right? I'm finding more and more truth in the words written in red. They tell me that there's more to life than just what I can see, right? They tell me there's more to life than just what I can see. I love that song. It's an old song, been around for a long time. If you haven't seen the video, it's worth checking out. But it's that idea that sometimes you have to look for things. You have to see things and even see things differently. And, some great pictures are accidental. There'll be people who just happen to be in the right spot at the right time and they get a shot, right? But the best pictures are discovered without the camera. I mean, it's like that shot that just happened to get in looking out that window that you recognize it. If you've taken enough pictures and you've practiced and you've studied, you realize that you can actually train your eye to see things, to see subjects and angles and colors and light and so on. You can see it, and you can make a picture, not just take a picture, right? It's an art of observation, perspective, and especially timing. Sometimes there's just that very tight window of opportunity to capture an image that bears witness, right? It actually bears witness to an insightful moment with heart-touching beauty. And we work with a lot of schools as they're developing their marketing strategy, and sometimes the pictures on the website are they're pictures, but they were taken, they weren't made, and you can tell a difference. And there's a thought, there's an artistry to it. Without practicing that vision, we sadly miss the full spectrum of possibilities. It takes practice. It takes being able to see, sometimes to see what others can't see. You see, it's not what you look at that matters, said Henry David Thoreau. It's what you see. It's what you see. Right? Why do we assume, it's interesting when you see certain events happen, especially if someone makes a very poor decision and creates pain for other people, right? Sometimes there's a statement, well, man, I never knew they would do such a thing. I can't believe he did that or she did that. Why do we assume that we see others completely when we hardly see ourselves? Right? I mean, we struggle just to understand our own motivations and who we are, and sometimes we create narratives in our own heads that aren't true, but those are choices, right? We have to be really careful what we see. There's so much more than what we see because our vision is severely limited by inaccurate assumptions, by careless investigations. We think we've gone and we've done the research. We know, right? And unqualified judgment. We don't know what we don't know. And unfortunately, that a lack of self-knowledge particularly has consequences. Self-knowledge, self-awareness, they yield greater patience and mercy for others, right? Because of the humility that often emerges. It's that humility that offers grace and the vision that confirms hope. With self-awareness, with self-knowledge, we're far more likely to see people through their possibilities, through their potential, through their promise, than through their past. Right? That light enables us to see that there's more to life than just what we can see. Blaise Pascal once said, "In faith, there is enough light for those who want to believe and enough shadows to blind those who don't." It's a choice. It's a distinct gift to be able to see beautiful things where others, they see nothing. They see a void. They see darkness. They see despair. But faith is believing in what we can't see, which allows us to see what we believe. It's an enabling process, right? Possibilities abound for those that see them, for those that can really see the possibility. They can see beyond, even in the midst of great despair. That's one of the many oddities of this existence, of this life, right? And it befuddles even the greatest geniuses of mankind. They don't get it. They struggle to put their head around how we can look at the same circumstances and see completely different options. We can be looking at the same, conditions and limitations or suffering and see completely different possibilities. And the words written in red reveal the greatest picture anyone has ever made. So keep finding more and more truth this week, my friend, growing in that faith that moves mountains, finding that there's more to life than just what we can see, finding that, that those things that can only be seen with eyes of faith. Once you know, you know. A coaching question to consider as you're going through each day this week. Did I do my best to find more truth today? Did I do my best to find more truth today? Hey, get that shot. Love and leader, my friend. This is Scott.
Thank you for joining us for the Educators Among Us podcast and for your courageous commitment to this noble calling. We get you and the challenges of this work. To stay connected with this community, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and weekly encouragement at educatorsamongus.com.